Good evening, my fellow Canadians, and good evening, YouTube. So here is, there's been something that's been bothering me for quite a long time, that the media, the press seems not to be at least reminding people about, and that is Trudeau's policies toward veterans and Trudeau's policies towards terrorists such as Omar Khadr and ISIL and former ISIS fighters and ISIS wives. So in this clip, a soldier comes and confronts Trudeau. Perhaps many of you have seen it. It's displayed on YouTube on CTV, and all credit to CTV for the clip. So here we go. I'll just play it.
See, I'm also in medals here as well, Mr. Prime Minister, so it's a similar topic as well.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you. I just want to step over here. My name is Brock Blaszczyk. I'm a retired corporal with the Canadian Light Infantry out here in Edmonton, 1st Battalion. I served in the Canadian Armed Forces for 7 years. I deployed in Afghanistan back in 2009 until April 3rd, where I was obviously severely wounded by a roadside bomb or improvised explosive. As you can see, I've lost my left leg. I have 58% soft tissue loss and 88% nerve damage on my right leg. Back in August 24th, 2015, you made the promise, and I'll quote it here, "No veteran will be forced to fight their own government for the support and compensation they have earned." Yet you are still currently in a legal battle with veterans regarding equal support and compensation to their peers. You know, as you can tell, you know, we have two standard of veterans who fought in the same war. The ones prior to 2006 and the ones after 2006. There are two standards. One on the old Pension Act and one under this new lump sum or soon to be lifetime pension option. You know, which, by the way, Mr. Prime Minister, by what you just said here, through my own determination, I'm still at work. So technically, by what you said just a little while ago, I don't qualify for. Sorry.
So my question is... Thank you for being here. Thank you for your courage.
So my question is to you, Mr. Prime Minister, what veterans were you talking about? You know, because you have ISIL or ISIS members coming into a reintegration program. You did a backdoor deal with Omar Khadr with not even stepping into the courtroom. You know, so again, my question is, what veterans were you talking about? Was it the ones that fought for the freedoms and values that you so proudly boast about, or was it the ones who fought against? Because honestly, Mr. Prime Minister, I was prepared to be injured in the line of duty when I joined the military. Nobody forced me to join the military. I was prepared to be killed in action. What I wasn't prepared for, Mr. Prime Minister, is Canada turning its back on me.
So, I look at this man with great respect for his sacrifice that he made, many sacrifices that he's made, and he raises a very crucial point. The bureaucracy created under Justin Trudeau will make it much harder for veterans to get the proper funding for the treatment that they need. It will make it longer for them to wait to apply. It'll also make the parameters in which they can apply more specific and harder to to get what they need. That aside, this soldier's question posed to the Prime Minister, you can see in his face that he's between rage and I guess not confusion, but disbelief in our government, in the actions of our government. So watch as Trudeau answers it very, very, it's just absolutely terrible. Watch.
So which veteran was it that you were talking about?
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your passion and your strength and being here today to share this justifiable frustration and anger with me and with all of us here. Thank you for having the courage to stand here, and thank you for listening to my answer. On a couple of elements you brought up. First of all, why are we still fighting against certain veterans groups in court? Because they are asking for more than we are able to give right now. They are asking for more than we... Well, no, hang on. You're asking for honest answers. The old Veterans Charter involved lump sum payments and very little in the way of services. We have significantly invested in services, rehabilitation, support, investments in training, in support for caregivers and families that have gone a long way towards improving the quality of life and outcomes for veterans. And we cannot return to the amount of money that was given before without accounting for the money invested in services for veterans.
Okay, so there you see it right from the horse's mouth. The problem is that he's saying here, in half a lie, you might say, because he's not actually addressing the question asked. He's sort of trying to blame the previous administration for the parameters that were set in order to get the benefits that is needed, and that the money was being spent in the wrong place, and the fact that money has already been spent. So that's sort of like credited to people, then to change the whole system. Those people receive benefits already and we're not going to pay twice kind of idea. That's nonsense. If you're injured in the line of combat, the last thing you want to worry about is waiting for the government checks to come in and making huge applications that are several pages long, and recollecting, and doctor's notices and all kind of things, witnesses in combat, I suppose, proof of injury and whatnot. So this answer that Trudeau has given, they are asking for more than what we can afford to pay right now, is absolutely disgraceful. And it just proves how little he cares for the true people of Canada. I don't think any real Canadian would say that a veteran who's lost a leg and had severe damage in his other leg and God knows what else in combat is not a true Canadian. They say that is the truest Canadian. Somebody who fight for Canadian ideals, for freedom, for peace. These people need something. You better be the first one there to help them out, because without them, our society cannot exist. So I look at the answer that Trudeau gives. It is a boy's answer, like a little boy. He don't really know what he's talking about, and he's not educated enough to know what he's talking about, and he's basically just trying to misdirect the conversation and lead away from the core of the issue. And the issue is, his government has done next to nothing for veterans. That's the real truth behind it. And he's done far less than the Conservative government has, and creating more bureaucracy around it. And on top of that, which I'll talk about in my next video, is putting funding that needs to be put into veterans and putting it into other interests, selfish interests, like Omar Khadr. So I will talk about that in the next video. But essentially, this veteran has come forward to the Prime Minister with a very sincere, frustrated, and valid point, especially valid, and not to beg, but to direct his attention, this boy of a Prime Minister, to the real issues. And Trudeau plays him off exactly like that, like a boy who's not educated, like a robot spewing out answers that had nothing to do with the conversation at hand. So I would like to thank you for your time and for your attention, and I will release the part 2 of this video about Omar Khadr and the continuation of this video. Thank you for your attention. Good night.